Welcome to the HoHo Show, rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we defend the Constitution. Because freedom matters.
We are broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio, so welcome to the HoHo Show, and as always, I am your host, HoHo. And yeah, so just before it's going live, I totally forgot how to swallow. I was drinking tea. Let me elaborate on what it is I'm talking about. So yeah, it was a good time. So welcome everybody. Welcome Spreaker. Welcome Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, Periscope, and Facebook. How y'all's doing? I hope you guys are doing good on this lovely opening weekend for summer, Memorial Day weekend. And guys, all right, so I've got like the rest of the weekend off. I didn't get back home until like 4:30 p.m. Oh yeah, by the way, I am joined in studio by Mr. Ray. How are you doing today, sir?
A lot better than you were.
Yeah, apparently. And I went to unmute you, which you were already unmuted, and I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be hitting a different button. That one. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to give you CPR.
Yeah, I don't.
Or mouth
to
mouth.
The Heimlich maneuver is what I prefer.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
You know.
We know.
It's. Yeah. So today, guys, we're doing a unique show, and and hello, Linda over there in Spreakerland. How are you doing? She says it's cloudy and cool in Idaho. It's a little kind of cool, but the sun's out-ish, I think, over here. I don't know. We got some clouds.
A little humid.
Yeah, it's humid. It's humid, yeah. You know, if I had, like, a sports team in Florida, I would name it humidity. You know, because it's not the heat. It's the humidity.
Right.
Wait. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, I'm better now. So, guys, we got an interesting show today planned out for you. See, we're going to be talking about the impact that the shutdown and whatnot has been having on our economy, on with crime, and with policies and whatnot from different places. And we actually look to see some changes coming in the near future with how much power is given to the governor during these type of things. So, I mean, we're actually looking, for some changes, like all across the board in most states. I mean, we're kind of predicting that, if you will. So, to start us off, with our first interview before, because we ain't got that much time before, our first calling guest comes on. So, Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
That's awesome.
How are you?
I'm doing good. So you are on the Christian County Board.
Correct.
Here in Christian County.
That's in Illinois.
Illinois, yep. Central Illinois. And guys, just to kind of bring it into it a little bit, we are a big town, small city, fly over America, Central Illinois type of a thing. We probably have a story that is much like what a lot of y'all's story is. I mean, this isn't New York City. This isn't California, although California hasn't been doing too bad in this, but, nothing like New York. But we have our own issues,
right,
so to speak. But that's what we're looking at doing. We're looking to talk about those on a more local, small city, town, hometown kind of aspect of it. That's what we're looking at. So, you being in the board not that long ago, Tuesday, was it this past Tuesday or Tuesday before last?
I believe it was last Tuesday.
I think it was too.
Yeah,
but
it was.
But there was a
there was a proclamation made to send to the governor to open up on behalf of Christian County.
Right. And you gave a pretty impactful speech, which I still have yet to hear that.
Right.
Care to tell us a little bit about it, or at least of what you can remember?
Well, the proclamation itself is more symbolic because any county or city cannot override what the state or federal government does. It was more of a request than anything. It was a proclamation for us to open up the county as far as what we had control over. The county board itself only has control over certain county buildings. It does not have control over the courthouse. That's under jurisdiction of the sheriff's office per state statute, as well as we don't have jurisdiction over individual municipalities, and they're in the same boat. They still have to follow the state guidelines and regulations. They can't tell anybody to open up, and they can't tell nobody to not open up. It's pretty much up to the states and feds to really do something like that. But by declaring a proclamation to open up, we basically tell the people in our community, hey, we are behind you. The local people aren't going to mess with you. You know, the state police, state regulation agencies on upwards could. But here locally, we were not going to mess with you, is basically what the point is.
If you could kind of get the mic a little bit more off center from your mouth. You're doing hard and don't do that. Don't do that. Please, please, please.
This right here? Right there.
Better? It depends on where you're focusing your mouth.
Oh.
You see how mine is?
Yes.
Okay.
How's that?
Kind of off kilter.
Off kilter?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, anyway.
But yeah, that's basically the gist of it, is to show that, you know, we're not going to mess with you on a local level, but we're supporting you, and we understand what's going on. 6 county board members requested the special county board meeting, and I was one of those members.
Right, and not only that, but that was had overwhelming support. Wasn't it like 12-3 or something like that?
Correct. It was 12-3 in support of. And
actually, you know, well, not actually, but, you know, honestly speaking, there's an aspect of this that we touched base on before the show, but it was the, you know, like what you said, it's largely symbolic. You know, largely symbolic. It doesn't really have a huge impact on things. It's just hey, look, you know, this is our money and we want it now kind of a thing. That's what we're doing. You know, an official type of let's get this thing open back up. We don't have the problems you do. Let's go ahead and get this thing going.
Right.
Much like because I was told the Illinois General Assembly passed something basically slapping down, you know, Pritzker and making all of this, in a matter of speaking, go away. But the fact of the matter is, much like what happened in the county board meeting, what happened in the Illinois General Assembly wasn't anything more than symbolic. The letter that I received, or that I had, or whatever you want to call it, looks a lot like this. Okay, Illinois General Assembly, and by reading this thing, and this was done May 20th of 2020, but this thing was done more or less as a letter, not really a letter of intent, but you know, hey, look, it's time to open back up. Let's get this thing done, because it was done, if you look here at the bottom, by the Illinois Senate Republican Caucus and the Illinois House Republican Caucus, but it wasn't a bill or anything like that, just more or less a letter of intent, letter of support to open back up, and that's more or less what it amounted to.
Right.
You know, so this pretty much amounts to the same thing. Am I right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the only thing on the county level is we did make it note that we are going to open up the county buildings that we do have control over, which is only about 3 of them, on that certain date that was said.
Right. And what was that date, just out of curiosity?
Oh, I would have to look it up. I think it was the 26th, I believe it was.
Yeah, because I read it earlier today, and I don't remember. I don't have a clue.
But the only ones that we actually had control over were the animal control, highway, and soil and waste management buildings, as far as what the county board can authorize to be opened.
Right. Okay. And
as we talked about before the show, you know, another reason to put that forward is to have your elected leaders on record as where they stand on the issues. And I believe not just on this issue, but any issue, you need to hold your elected leaders accountable. You need to know exactly where they stand on every issue, not letting them hide in the sidelines until election time. You need to know exactly where they stand on every issue. And that's one thing that I, you know, press forward on. is that.
Right, because, demanding a vote, you forced, you held their feet to the fire and say, hey, where do you stand on this? I want to know.
Right.
Because fact of the matter is, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. In the beginning, I understand why they did what they did. Okay, I get it. I understand. It was out of fear. They were looking at what happened in China and what happened in, Italy. They were looking at that and they were like, holy crap, we've got to do something and we got to do it now. I get that, But if you look at, in comparison to New York, what the governor of Florida did, he based, he looked at the numbers too, but he was like, okay, look, numbers by themselves don't mean anything. We need a little context here. And that's what he did. He started to dig deeper. And that's why he did something different in his state. And even though they have a population pretty much equal to what's in New York State, they had like a 16th of the deaths, I think, in Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know what the exact number is, but I know what you're saying. It was a very dramatic difference between the two.
Yeah, and because one of the things that he did was he seen, once he dug deeper, which is what everybody should have done, dig deeper, find out, the context behind these numbers instead of just looking at the numbers. And he was like, okay, young people don't really have a lot to worry about unless you have underlying health conditions. And those were the outliers, but it's the, people with pre-existing health conditions, people with, immune, deficiencies. It's the elderly. It's those are the ones whom we need to worry about. Those are the ones whom we need to, pay special attention to. Those are the ones. And that's what he did, unlike Governor Cuomo, who decided he's going to force these people to, take and quarantine people who were COVID-19 positive, in nursing homes and assisted living places and in places that housed, our senior citizens. Right. Bad move.
Oh boy.
Oh, Linda, that was hilarious, and thank you for playing on my little word, little. She says, I may be in my 60s, but I have never been spayed.
She's really starting to know you.
Oh yeah. She gets a kick out of my stupid mouth pronunciations from time to time.
English.
It cracks. Oh yeah, English. Did I tell you what? English is a first language. It's a doozy. It's a doozy.
Can I add to what we were talking about?
Of course.
And I didn't really know how impactful this was at the end, and I did, me forever, and I don't say anything that I don't mean, especially when it comes to politics and important stuff.
Right.
Towards the end there, I said this. I can't remember exactly how I said it, but it was the gist of it was, I've took an oath on more than one occasion to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and I take that very seriously. Mm-hmm. It's not just mere words to me, and anybody that knows me should fully understand that. And I told the board this as well as every county official that was listening and online that day. And then I said, if you've took that oath before and you're not honoring that oath, you do not need to be in government, period. And I meant that 100%. You do not need to be in government if you cannot honor that oath of office.
You are so right on that. And hello, Sam, over there in Facebook land. She says ho-ho-isms. That's right. We are full of ho-ho-isms in here. But you're so right about that. There was a I don't know who the governor was, but, he was asked in an interview how he felt or how hard of a decision it was to do these, stay-at-home orders and this other stuff and bypassing the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. He was like, that's above my pay grade. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking about, and that's whenever I started yelling at the recording that I was listening to. I'm like, dude, that is your pay grade. That's what you are put on there to do. That is your oath of affirmation. That's your oath of office. You should know that. He is placed in there to know the Constitution, to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Right.
So, how can you sit there and say that that's above your pay grade?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, I found that absolutely infuriating. I'll just be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, it was ridiculous. You know.
Yeah.
But
and you know when I said that, and if anybody else says that too, it wasn't directed at one party. It wasn't directed at any one person. I drew a line in the sand, and I'll say it again. That's for anybody. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, what position you are, how much money you got in your pocket, how much influence in the community you think you have. That oath of office applies to you as much as it does anybody else.
well, and that's the thing. You know, being a representative, that applies to you 100%.
Exactly.
You know, period. You know, I mean, you know, these people are supposed to be held at a higher regard. Mm-hmm. Okay, you know, because you guys on, you know, with local board, okay, with the people that are in state legislature being there, with the governor being where he's at, you know, this goes for, you know, Schumer and, you know, Lindsey Graham and Nancy Pelosi and, you know, the president and law enforcement and everybody. You know, you guys aren't the exception to your rules. You're the example.
Right.
Okay. That's all there is to it. You know, how can, you know, Gravy Sweats, Jelly Bean Pritzker, how can he hold our feet to the fire with a stay-at-home order whenever his wife goes to Florida?
Exactly.
How can you, you know, you are the example of the law. You're not above it. You're the example of it.
How can he take construction workers to go from Illinois to send them to his farm in Wisconsin to go work on it if it's so dangerous and you should stay at home and all this crap?
You're not supposed to cross state lines and yada, yada, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, you are not the exception. You are the example of. If you're not going to follow it, why should anybody else? Because you're telling us exactly what you think about these orders.
Right.
You're telling us exactly what you think about us. And that to me is just, it's a fraud, it's a sham, and people like that should be removed from office. I mean, and I don't mean, you know, as nice as possible. I'm not talking armed revolution by any means, but these people need to be removed from office ASAP at the beginning of the next election. Vote no to put that, insert your expletive, back in office.
Right.
You know, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of removed from office, you seen the article. United States Attorney General Thomas Barr has sent a letter of support for Representative Darren Bailey's lawsuit and pretty much everybody's lawsuit against Pritzker in Illinois. So the Department of Justice has taken an official interest in all these lawsuits against our governor. And that should send us a clear message, Governor, that you better knock your crap off or the feds are going to be coming knocking on your door here pretty soon.
Well, you know, and that goes for all of them. You know, I mean, that really does. That goes for all of them.
Michigan, California, anybody.
Every single state, you know, and that's the thing. And we talked about this before, you know, because again, whatever. Again, you know, I understand the initial response as to why they did this. And that's the thing of why I said at the beginning of the show that you're going to see some big changes coming in state and local governments because this stuff that they were doing wasn't, you know, it was in essence an executive order that didn't pass the upper and lower chambers, wasn't actually signed into law by the governor himself. This was an order of the executive in the state. You know, that's all it was. They're not laws. And if they wanted to keep it going instead of just extending, quote unquote, extending his power, what they should have done is he should have put it up to the upper and lower chambers in their, you know, prospective states and gone about it that way and actually put it into law. Mm-hmm. That's what they should have done. That was the right legal and constitutional way in these various states to do that. But that's not what they did.
Right.
You know, he extended his own power by fiat. Wasn't his power to have, but he extended it. And there you go. That's what happened. What happened was, insert what I just said.
Very good.
Thank you.
And currently he is trying to get that extended into the General Assembly. They haven't voted on it yet, but the kicker is that if it gets passed, he is trying to extend it to be a Class A misdemeanor, punishable by a year in jail and a $2,500 fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's redonkulous, just for, now, I mean, I'm going to be honest, this shutdown really hasn't affected me on a personal level whatsoever. Okay. I'm a truck driver. I've been going all kinds of places. I've only worn my mask one time. I got a mask. It honestly doesn't do any good. And I demonstrated that, on the last show by, vape going right through my t-shirt, which is the same quality of fabric as most of the things people are wearing on their face. Mm-hmm. It goes right through it. And guess what? That's the COVID. It may stop your spittle from coughing, from sneezing, from whatever, but just your breath, which can carry the COVIDs, it ain't going to stop. Okay, I demonstrated that last week. I mean, I know it's a feel-good measure. I know this. And it is going to help minutely, but after everything's all said and done, you're not supposed to be wearing them things long-term.
Right.
They have had negative effects on people. And if you are already isolated in your car with nobody else in there, why are you wearing a mask?
I seen that just today.
I've been seeing that the entire time.
Yeah.
In every single state I drive through, I've seen that, and it's like
one lady wrecked from doing that.
Yeah, because she passed out. It's like, dude, you're not getting the fresh air. You're breathing in what you already exhaled. And just in case you guys didn't know, you inhale and your body takes in the oxygen. Okay. And then when you exhale, your body is taking out the carbon dioxide. And in which case, if that air doesn't go out into the environment, you breathe it back in again. That's bad. That causes people to go, not sleeping in a good way. That's sleeping in the somebody screaming way.
Yeah.
Linda put in here, she goes, I take off the mask when I get in the truck and put it back on before going into the next door. And that's how you should do it. I mean, even as far as if you are outside social distancing, there's really no need to wear a mask, But whenever you go inside with a bunch of people that, you have no idea who in there may be susceptible, who in there may have a compromised immune system, whether you yourself may or may not be sick, we don't know. But if you're going inside, okay, you can't social distance, fine, put your mask on. And if that, is going to help you, then you shouldn't just wear a cloth mask. You should be actually wearing something that's going to do a little bit more than nothing, like an N95 mask. That's what you should be wearing, And in which case, if you are, awesome. If not, and that's the thing, too. There ain't no need to shame me because I am a healthy indivisible and I don't feel like wearing a stinking mask because I'm social distancing. I'm getting away from people, not because I am required by fiat, by communist people that says social distance. No, I don't like people. I'm a hermit. I like to keep to myself. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after we're going to take a break here within the next 7 minutes because, like I said, guys, today it's an awesome show. All right, we're interviewing some people, and we're going to be our next guest. We're going to be talking about crime. We're going to be talking about that type of thing, and we're also going to be talking about the limitations that police officers have on their own jobs. And yeah, we're going to be discussing things with a local member of the police department. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to have fun with this interview.
I bet you will.
Because, this is a guy he was there whenever I wrecked my motorcycle and I attempted flying, and I found out the flying's pretty fun, landing sucks. He was the officer on scene. He has actually arrested me, I think on more than one occasion. I mean, I don't remember exactly how many times. I know he's at least arrested me once, because I was an idiot. I forgot about a court date, that was a payment review on a ticket that I had.
Right.
So, I mean, it was his job to ensure that I didn't forget. And he, he made it a point to find me and to tell me the error in my ways. So, I mean, hell of a nice guy.
Yeah.
He really is. I was telling Ray earlier that, he's one of the good ones, Sam put in here a very social hermit, maybe. Well, I'm sociable.
Just don't go to Walmart with them.
Oh my God.
Unless you have lots of time on your hands.
Dude, guys, I went in there one time. Okay, now most Walmarts are set up pretty much the same. Okay. This is true. So I went in on the grocery side. Doesn't matter which side I went into, but I went in on the grocery side, and I did nothing more than walk to the front counter, the service counter, whatever, that's right there on the front, where you return stuff. I walked there and then back out again. Over 20 people I ran into. Over 20 freaking people that I knew and had at least somewhat of a conversation with. It was redonkulous.
I was
it's
with
like
them.
Ermy Gerd.
I'm a witness.
Yeah, he was there with me. He's like, holy crap, man, you can't take me anywhere. I'm like, I know.
I think we was only going to grab like one or two things.
We only went to the service counter, and then we left again. That was it.
Yeah.
We didn't grab nothing. And now whenever I go to the Walmarts, which is amazing how a store is not only a noun but a verb and an adverb. What are you doing today? I'm going Walmartin. It's amazing how that, anyway. Now whenever I go to the Walmarts, I generally go back into the automotive section, which really actually sucks right now because the automotive section is closed due to everybody in the automotive section has the COVIDs.
So you can't go in the back door.
Can't go in the back. Shut up. Dude, my grandpa had a tavern here in town long time ago. And it was the Backdoor Tavern.
Yes.
Because, the tavern did not have a front door access. It was, the alley access. It was at the back door. So it was the Backdoor Tavern, the hitching post or whatever the heck they call it now. I don't know. It's had like 20 different names. I don't know what it is now.
I got one more thing if we got a minute.
We got a minute. We got 4 or 3.
As you know, we were all at the Open Illinois Rally 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago?
No, it was last week.
Last week, yeah. Last week.
Yeah.
He was at the Open Illinois Rally, and it was very awesome. Some of the media only reported like, oh, there's only a couple hundred people. My butt. There's probably like a couple thousand, if not more.
Right.
And we have a rally next week. It's about the same time, same channel,
same
place.
bat time, same bat channel.
So Weaponized Sloth Productions will be there. At least one person from every show is planning on being there.
Right. And actually our very own Brandon Gatton, host of the Machine Radio Show, is going to be one of the people giving a speech at that location. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so if you see us there, come by, say hi. I should be wearing this Trump pinch shirt again and my MAGA hat. So
I've got to be wearing a MAGA hat.
Name tag and everything like I did before.
Yeah.
So come by, say hi.
So you going to wear your Trump 2020 face mask?
I'll have it with me.
Sweet. So we'll be looking forward to seeing that.
So come say hi to us.
I plan on having coughs and whatnot whenever I go. I figure if I'm going to have people afraid of me, I might as well give them something to fearful. Be afraid of. Just walk around, just doing that kind of stuff. Because for me, it's fun. Because that's just
Just the way you are.
I know. I'm mean like that. All right. Well, you got anything else to add on this particular section of the show? I got like a minute or two.
No, but the rally was awesome. There was more people there than what I thought there was, and it was peaceful. There were no Nazi flags or any weird stuff like some people were reporting. And,
right.
It was straightforward, great.
Yeah, gotta love how they like to report that kind of stuff, and how they like to say that it's bad, and they look for and seek out that. That one bad apple.
Right.
That more times than not, it's
plant.
Wait. No. Sorry. I was reading something Sam put in there. It goes, hubby hates the looks. He just quit smoking. He hates the looks. He hates the looks. Never mind. Anyway.
Wrong song.
Yeah, that's different. But yeah.
But it should be a good time this coming Saturday. Next Saturday.
Yeah, and they're looking to have even more people there next weekend than what was there this past weekend. And it was funny because Brandon was like, hey, you're not going to make it. And I'm like, dude, I'm going out to New York from coughing. He hates the looks. From coughing. That's great. But yeah, I was like, dude, I got to go out to New York. I'm not going to be back until 4 or 5 or something. I've got my call in. All right. So ladies and gents, we'll be right back. We're going on a quick break. Oops. I can't put the phone up to my head whenever my headset's on. All right. One moment, guys, and we will be right back. Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. I absolutely love that promo. All right, guys. So joining on the phone today is Officer Mills. He is a local Taylorville Police Department cop. I guess I didn't really put that in the right order at all. He is also a county representative of the, what's that called? What'd you say?
Director of Christian County Crime Stoppers, I believe.
Yeah, that too. So, and he's joining us today to talk about the crime aspect that the shutdown and whatnot has had. So, thank you for coming on the show, sir.
I'm glad you had me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So, we had a little discussion before the show, and kind of giving you a slight rundown of things. But the first thing I'm wanting to talk about is the overall. No, wait, that's not the first thing. That the impact of crime in the area. You know, like, has there been an uptick in crime at all in Taylorville?
I think there's been a slight uptick. I mean, with stay-at-home order going on, I think there's been an issue with, I don't know if you want to describe it as cabin fever. So people in relationships stuck together that way, maybe nowhere to go, some of the pressure that's going on, financial aspects, everything's kind of increased with the coronavirus issues going on. So there's been a uptick in domestic disputes that we've had to handle.
Right.
There's also been some issues with some break-ins. People, whether they have nothing to do and this is the way to entertain themselves, or there's issues with their financial situation, but there's been an uptick in thefts also.
Right, and I have heard in different places how, there has been an uptick in, like, breaking into cars, vehicle break-ins and stuff like that. But, as far as locally goes, outside of a shovel and a sledgehammer, I really haven't heard of any arrests that's happened.
No, I would say that the arrest totals overall are down. I guess you would say it's more of a increase of one type of crime over the others. Because of the situations going on, one section of criminal activity goes up and the others go down.
Right, I got you. I totally forgot to unmute myself. That was great.
Yes, you have to unmute.
Yes. Yeah, that was actually one of my next questions was, if the uptick in crime has happened, where overall has it been? So, awesome. I appreciate that. The next question would be, does the, well, I guess I should start with, what is the overall, I guess you could say the official response for, social distancing, the stay-at-home order, things like that. How much pushback have you guys had at all on that? And what is the overall official position, I guess you could say, of the police?
Well, our position is that with the lockdown and the recommendations for social distancing and masks, we haven't had too many calls involving complaints about either from people.
That's
when
good.
we have come across them. Ours is more of a warning, informational situation. This is why it might be best that you do this. I mean, we haven't arrested anybody for it, and we've just tried to do it from that perspective. And there's been some pushback. People take their freedom seriously in this country, and when they feel that some of them could be construed as being opposed upon, it can make them a little upset.
Right, understandable. Oh yeah, and by the way, Linda, one of the listeners over in Spreaker, she says, "Hello, officer." So yeah, but yeah,
I said hey.
will do. But yeah, I totally know what you're talking about on that because yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, especially whenever you're talking the smaller towns and whatnot, that we take our freedom seriously. So I mean, I can definitely understand the people just wanting to kind of push back from that in some sort of way. And
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say when the lockdown first went into effect, if you want to use that wording for it, I think people went along with it. That they may have felt like this was the thing to do, the right thing. People were this is something kind of never happened before, kind of interesting to see. But after a while, it starts to wear, especially when you're talking about how long people have been doing it. There's people that don't have jobs, that have been laid off or furloughed, and with that kind of pressure building up, it's not a surprise that there was some pushback to it for as long as it's gone on.
Right.
But I think people around here, they've been understanding as far as when it comes to us and our part in the play.
Right. And, that's one of the things that we talked about earlier was, what has the local response been to, in order to protect our, senior citizens, our, people in nursing home, the assisted living places, or, senior living places, what's been the response and the protective measures that you guys have done there?
Well, as a lot of listeners may know, we had an issue with assisted living, Rolling Meadows, and the number of cases they had there, and they were quarantined or advised to stay in there, and that had to be hard for them. I didn't envy the position they were in.
Right.
We were involved in trying to kind of keep secure, make sure we weren't there as total lockdown enforcement. We were advising people they didn't need to go in because I don't think anybody in that building wanted to spread or expose any of their loved ones or the public in general to what was going on in there. And it was an uncomfortable situation. There was some pushback from a couple of residents, which I understand, but I think overall they handled it really well, and I think they demonstrated how it can go when you understand what's at stake.
Right. And that was one of the things that, whenever I first heard about it, I mean, yeah, my initial reaction was, what? But whenever I took a moment to reflect, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Good for you guys because, one of the weekends I got back, I drove past Park Glen, which is, one of them places. And I noticed, police presence outside. And I was like, oh, okay. Good for you guys for, taking that step to, protect who needed to be protected in a matter of speaking, So I definitely commended you guys for doing that. Definitely.
Well, it's trying to balance the line between protecting the public interest and not seeming like an occupying force. Not
exactly.
Like stormtroopers when it comes to the public health. But just that we're trying to keep people safe. I've had people come up and they're upset about the mask situation or, the number of people situation, and they can be quite vocal to it. And like I say, I can empathize with some of their concerns. It's just part of the job that we got to do.
Right. And you did touch base on something that I don't want to, at the moment, but first I want to ask you, do you guys have any concerns with a prolonged lockdown that, that really keeps people jobless because of because of different businesses and industries not being able to open up? Do you have any concerns with sort of an unrest or like a, disorder, civil disorder or social disorder, however you want to word that? Do you guys have any concerns on that?
Well, like at the beginning when I said there's an uptick, I might have misspoken. Should have said in different different types of crimes.
Right.
Here we take it and had talks about what could happen if this had been prolonged. You've got a lot of people, unfortunately, in tough economic situations that's going on, and sometimes people that get in desperate situations can do desperate things.
Exactly.
We've looked at, like, instead of patrolling like we've done before, we keep an eye on properties. You've got a lot of businesses that are shut down, so there's not people in and out of them a lot. So we step up patrols in areas where that might be a concern. And as you talked about and alluded to, the shovels and hammer situation that happened the other night, in certain circumstances, it doesn't take much to set some groups off.
Right.
So, and with summer coming up, the heat never helps that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone over some scenarios where we might have to run into situations where people are upset from the totality of it all, and just like what happened the other night, sometimes stuff just explodes.
Right. Yeah, definitely understand that. So, all right. So one last thing, and again, you alluded to this a little bit earlier. That I find it entertaining, troublesome, and people really need to go back to school and learn a little bit about civics and local politics and, laws in general. But the police department doesn't really have a whole heck of a lot of say whenever it comes to the different type of laws that they enforce, and the example of, in, I believe it was New Jersey, the Garner incident, granted, death is tragedy. It always is, but the police did, they had to respond, and he was a repeat offender, was selling Lucy-Loos on the sidewalk, and of which case, the police detained, the tragic death, absolutely, but, it wasn't their choice to enforce that law. So, I find it irritating and, just like, you guys really need to do a little bit of homework on that. So, but yeah, cops really don't have a whole heck of a lot of choice in the laws that they enforce,
Well, that's true. I get in the Garner case, and it was unfortunate. They did have to make contact with him, and hopefully in a circumstance where there was a tragedy like that, they can learn something and maybe come at it in a little different, possibly better way than it went down. That being said, it's easy to get mad at the police when they pull you over for speeding or traffic laws like that, because we're the face of what the laws are. You don't get to go yell at a legislator for something. You get to be upset with the police. And me personally, there's some rules and laws that I would be wondering about as a private citizen. As a police officer, it's my job to keep it in line. Mm-hmm. And I don't try to take that anger personally, because I know they're just men because they're upset, and just most people just need to get that off their chest. And deep down, they understand. In the community where I work, I'm very fortunate. Other officers in other cities, they face a lot worse than just some people upset about some local ordinances or some state traffic rules.
Right,
Most
yeah.
people here, they may get mad, they may vent, but in the end, they're respectful, and that's one of the reasons I enjoy working here.
Right, yeah. Heck, you've arrested me at least once, if not more than once. I don't remember on that one.
And you let him go.
Right, I know, but yeah, it's
like you said, when you're working in a small town area like this, and I grew up here too, out in the Hillsville part of town,
right?
You end up running to people like you that we know each other, but sometimes circumstances are circumstances, and I don't try to make it. It's not personal to me. It's like a business deal, and
right.
I hope that people understand we're just trying to do our job. They don't really ask us and get our opinion on the laws they pass. They just kind of do that and point at us to go take care of it.
Right. And you mentioned this as well. It's it was your job. It was something you had to do. I didn't place any blame on you, because the blame totally went on me, because I'm the idiot that forgot about my court date. So, you can't take that kind of stuff personal whenever a cop, they're just after to do their own job. And for some reason, some people, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And most of the people we deal with are like your situation. They just made a mistake and it went the way it did. And as long as that's kept in perspective, that you're not dealing with like super villain types and just people that a lot of times have made a bad decision or a mistake, then I think, and you treat them that way, I've always been very lucky that people can respect that. They may not like it. There may be some hollering and screaming in the interim, but at the end that they understand, and, you know, they're not screaming and trying to throw too many bottles and stuff at me like the other places get.
Right. And well, I know you heard his voice, but I don't think I actually introduced who else was in studio with me, Mr. Kuntz here, the county board member. Do you have any questions for him before we part?
Yeah, I got a couple things. You both know, before I was county board member, I was also on a city council for here. And the police department gave me the privilege of riding around with them on all the shifts once in a while. And I got to see a whole new world compared to what the average public sees. And Officer Mills, you know, I've rode with you quite a few times, and you've taught me quite a bit of stuff. And one thing I noticed was a lot of the people that you apprehend are the same either type or groups of people with the same names a lot of the times. And that was very interesting to know. And I just ask right now, especially with the uptick, is it still that way? Is it still the usual type of, you know, certain people that you usually deal with, or do you see new faces coming into the scene?
Well, first off, Ms. Kuntz, I appreciate the compliment. And second, yeah, I mean, we're still dealing with some of the same people we deal with.
Right.
I mean, some of the people, they just haven't got it quite figured out yet to get out of that rut of dealing with us. But there have been some new faces with it. Like I said, with the situation going on, it's created some people that are in some tough circumstances, and these people, but for what's going on, might not be in that circumstance. I'm not condoning anything that's done, but I think that some stuff that's happened may have tied into just good people in maybe a desperate situation.
Right.
And you're also the coordinator for Crime Stoppers. With everything going on, has Crime Stoppers picked up because of this lockdown, or is it about average?
It's about average, or I'd say about where we're at, maybe a little lower, because some of the crimes that Crime Stoppers does, the drug activity still continues even in something like this. But a lot of the other stuff where the outdoors, where people were out and doing stuff in a public area is down. So some of the Crime Stoppers tips have gone down because the types of crimes that we had run normally in this time of the year have gone down, like I said at the beginning, where others have kicked up.
Right. And to end on a positive note, you know, with everybody shut in and locked down, can you describe what you guys have done as far as the birthday situation?
Well, Chief Wheeler, I got to give him credit. He's very community police active. And, I mean, even today, he and I were out helping him with the flags at the cemetery, putting them up. And a lot of volunteers today, by the way, thanks. But he came up with the idea that people can call in, anybody, a lot of times it's kids, but some adults, and they have a birthday, and we have a squad car or a couple of them, depending on what's available, go by in a little parade in front of the kids. A lot of the times, because of donations, we get handed out a stuffed animal, you know, something just so the kid gets something special, because you can't have a lot of the traditional birthday party going on because of everything shut down.
Right.
And I think a lot of people wonder about the time or how much labor or police resources used for it. It's very small. They don't take but a couple minutes to do, and it means a lot to the public, I think.
Yeah, I think that's
a few of them.
That's a very good thing, and I commend you guys for doing that. You know, you always hear people, certain people complain what the police do, but you never hear the good stories. You never hear what they really do on the positive side, and I really think people need to hear stories like that, because you know, police officers are people too. They have families. They, you know, like you said, you grew up around here. You know, you deal with the same stuff as the rest of us do, and
right.
That's a very good thing that you guys have done.
All right,
and I think it helps put that kind of face on it, and I appreciate that.
I got Linda. She has a question. She says, Has there been an increase in mass robberies? LOL. That's
Well, I guess I can give this one up. We had a retail theft at it's Taylorville Food Center. It's still kind of IGA and Harmon's to me, but it's Taylorville Food
Right.
Center. And the lady that stole the items from there, I was familiar with her, so it was kind of lucky that I dealt with her before and recognized her MO. But she had the mask on, and they got the video, and they couldn't recognize her because she had the full face mask or
Right.
the mask on like she's supposed to,
right.
and gloves on, and walked in and stole these items. And the camera got her face, but if it wasn't somebody we dealt with times before, it might have been a little harder to pick her out of the lineup for sure.
Right.
So, I
Right.
mean, it isn't the masked armed robbery thing, but it's in certain circumstances of recognizing people, it's made them kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I thank you very much for coming onto the show. You know, Ray and I was talking before the show. That, you know, you're definitely one of the good ones. You know, you're one of them that, you know, truly has a passion for what he's doing, and you're not there as a power trip police officer, which is an amazing thing. So, you know, thank you very much for coming on
Yes.
and you know, talking with us.
Well, I appreciate you having me. I really do, and I thank you for those kind words.
Awesome, awesome. All right, well, you have a great one, and happy weekend. Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah. You guys have a good Memorial Day, and everybody listening too. Thank you.
My
Bye.
pleasure. Bye. Awesome, awesome. Well, guys, there you go. A little look into, you know, what the police officers deal with, and
Right.
you know, certain things that are going on. You know, and you know, like I said, I mean, he's definitely one of the good ones. You know, he's
I have to agree.
he's definitely one of the good ones. That we need more of those like him out there. You
Yeah.
know, that's just a definite.
Yeah, and like I said, when he was on air,
Don't you do it, you little turd! Scoot back.
Vector's misbehaving.
Dude, yeah, he gave me a weird look, or like he like narrowed his eyes and he was mean mugging me or something. He just looked right at me and just,
Well,
you know, yeah, he mean mugged me big time. I was offended.
what'd you do?
I looked at him back.
Oh,
That's all I can think of. He's looking at me all weird now. Did you look at me in that tone of voice?
yeah. Well, he knows you now.
He does. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
But you know, right, like I
did
said
hide.
earlier, right around with Officer Mills and other officers, a lot of times on second shift, late second shift, early third shift, it's a whole new world, and there's a lot out there that the average public does not realize what they put up with or have to deal with or on a daily basis. And if you knew what they dealt with on a daily basis, I mean, it's amazing. And I have a greater respect for any officer now because of what I've experienced, because those guys let me do that. So,
right. Yeah, Linda put in here. She goes, Vector wants to be interviewed. Yeah. Oh, you do you? Hey, Vector. Hey, Vector. Fist bump. You're a turd. He doesn't like
He did
being
it.
on my hand.
he did it for me earlier.
Yeah, he did. Well, he did it to me earlier, too. So, all right, guys, there we go. There's that one. And next interview, we're actually going to be talking with a local business owner. She hasn't been the owner of said business for a long period of time. Actually, I think, well, it was right around the either the end of last year or the beginning part of this year is whenever she got the business. And it's like, I think she's got 1, 2, 3 locations, 4 locations. I forgot about that. No. Yeah, 4. Yeah, she got like 4 locations. You know, and she's been having her own, you know, set of, you know, things, issues, challenges, you know, and we're going to be talking about that and some other things whenever she gets on the program. She should be here in the next, you know, 5 minutes or so. So, yeah, what you think about the interview? It's pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. Like I said, it's amazing what people don't realize what they deal with on a daily basis, and there's a lot of stuff out there.
You know, and I like how you brought up, you know, the birthday thing, because I got to be honest with you, I had no clue.
Well,
I did.
Your birthday's not for a while, so don't get any ideas.
No, I'm going to be gone the entire week of my birthday.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
That's my story anyway. I want to stick to that.
I'm scared.
Right. I might be hiding somewhere in a dark cabin in the woods.
With jar of peanut butter.
And a dog. Wait. No. None of that's going to happen.
Well, you never know.
Linda said that my birthday is 5 days after yours. That's awesome. Us December babies, you know, we've got it hard, man. I mean, I don't know about you, but like I didn't really get birthday parties growing up. You know, 2 days before Christmas, I really didn't have them. You know, I mean, everybody was like doing their own thing. You know, and in which case, you know, it was whatever. I didn't really care. You know, because I always had a good time whenever it was my brother's birthday. You know, regardless of anything like that. But you know, my parents were pretty good that they didn't. You know.
Say, here's your birthday / Christmas gift.
Little Toe
And
just
that was
committed
Vector.
suicide. He just committed suicide.
Twice in one day.
It is, too. Yeah, Linda put in here that we get Christmas... oh, that's an L. Lumped in with our birthdays. And, you know, my parents were actually really good about that. They kept it separate. You know, they made it a point to keep it separate. And, you know, whether I got a decrease in gifts or an increase in gifts, I don't really know. I pretty much got, like, put near a whole week worth of presents, you know, because with extended family and everything else going on, birthday, Christmas, this person, that person, it was awesome.
I had a lot of candy because my birthday's on Halloween.
Nice.
The day of.
Sam put in here, you got to work. I have no idea if I got to work. I mean, I'm just saying I'm not going to be here because I don't want no birthday parade. You know, I don't want no cops showing up at my house. I guess I should pick up Vector.
Yeah, while you pick him up, I'll just say my birthday was on Halloween, and that explains a lot of things. But yeah,
Right.
My guest list was like Michael Myers and you know, Jason and
Freddy Krueger, you know, Pinhead.
Yeah.
You know, Pinhead was awesome.
Yeah, but he kept popping up balloons though. You're reading something.
I am. Sam put in here, that was the beginning of your hermetistic ways, and that took me quite a while to be able to read hermetistic.
Yeah, I'm glad she said hermetistic. And
Yeah, because I was like, huh? That's a lot of letter. What does that say? That's way over there. I don't even know. All right, guys. We are going to... Now, we'll wait until she calls.
Wait till she calls.
Yep, and then I'm going to play my other promo that I've got just lingering, waiting on her. You know, and I'm actually kind of upset because I didn't get to record my Tide Pod promo.
Oh.
I mean, I got it laid out in my head exactly what I'm going to say.
You gotta
But
write it out if it's in your head.
You know, I probably should. I know my brain, and it
your
loses
brain.
things like that. You know, I mean, it's kind of
Yeah.
My brain and I, we're not always in speaking terms. We're not. Sometimes we argue, and he's like, "I'm not talking to you no more." So I mean, sometimes it's a bad thing. Just saying.
What's that call-in number in case they want to talk to the next guest?
That call-in number is 217. Where is it? There it is. 965-6133. And yes, call lines are open. I guess I forgot to mention that. You know, with the last interview. But you know, I mean that happens. That happens. You know, but yeah. So. Good times.
Got anything coming up?
Well, actually, I don't now. Okay, the past couple weeks has been kind of crappy. I mean, I know that I've been bounce dryer sheet mask. No need to worry about bad breath or worry about saying anything that will cause static. That is amazing. I like that, Linda. That is awesome. That was from Linda. But I know the past couple weeks I've been trying to do the continuing the series of knowing the Constitution. I've had, you know, breakdown on my vehicle. I've just stuff, you know, things going on.
Life.
I don't care if the house is burning down around me. Okay. Tomorrow we're doing a show. That's just all there is to it. I mean, I'll just call the popo. I'll be like, "Yo, Officer Mitchell." Neil, hello, sir, over there in Facebook land. Hey, how you guys doing? I was actually wanting. Yeah, I was wanting to. Yeah. And by the way, hello. I got a number I go to, I ain't even got my cell phone with me. When I go to break, I'm going to grab my cell phone. And if you guys would like to call in, you being a teacher, and Elizabeth being a business owner, that'd be actually kind of cool to tie in with the whole theme we got going on today.
Right.
That would be awesome. I'll give you a phone number as long as 8:30. All right, if you're not doing anything. 217, where's that number at? 217-615-0153. That is, hey, cool.
Your next
All right,
guest.
we're going to take a quick break. When I return, be right
We'll
back.
be back.
Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs. That was absolutely hilarious. You was not expecting me to put the camera on you, was you, Ray?
No.
That was awesome. All right. So
I got my sinuses rinsed out, so I'm good to go.
that was awesome. All right, guys. So we are now joined with Amanda. She is the owner of Freedom Vape. She's got 4 locations, if I'm not mistaken: Litchfield, Collinsville,
Taylorville,
and what was that other one? Chatham.
Chatham.
Awesome. Yeah, and she is located over there close to Walmart in the same shopping plaza as the best Chinese restaurant in Taylorville. That is my personal opinion. QQ China.
We won't go there because, they make you leave after a while.
They do. They're like, we need more food now. And you've been here for an hour. You go.
It's not exactly all you can eat, is it, HoHo?
No, it's not. They, although not my first time in there, but it was, I'd been going there for a while, so they knew my face. And Neil goes, "Where's your mask?" Yeah, I'm social distancing. Yeah, there's 6 feet between us. We're good. She, it was like 15 minutes before they were about ready to shut down the buffet. And she turned to the guy and was like, we need more food now. And it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. I've had a fat boy joke happen to me in real life. It was awesome.
Anywho.
So I was wanting to talk about the different challenges that you have been having with this, lockdown, with the being deemed a non-essential business, and not to mention being a relatively new business owner.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so let's. Where do you want to start?
Oh, well, wherever. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me on tonight. I'm excited to kind of get my opinion out there. And, obviously we're all in this together, and being a small business owner has been crazy in this shutdown. First of all, being considered a non-essential business is kind of a slap in the face, because it really depends on who you're talking to.
Right.
And that's how I feel like it should have been taken is, what is essential to you? Because what may be essential to one person is not essential to another.
Right.
And I've talked to multiple business owners who kind of agree with that, from nail techs to repairmen. They're like, I'm not essential to one person, but I am to others. So, of course, it's been a huge, huge hit on us to be told we're not essential. And I'm a stubborn person. Those of you that know me know I am. So I did a lot of research, and I printed out about a 3-page argument as to why I could be or should be considered an essential business. And those reasons, included the fact that I sell CBD, which helps with many medical issues.
Absolutely.
To the fact that people who have quit smoking traditional cigarettes and started vaping, if they were to go back to smoking traditional cigarettes, it would cause a huge impact on their health and well-being.
Exactly. I mean, I know personally people whom, are only able to basically walk without being, long-winded in like 10 minutes, that have only been able to do that because they stopped smoking and started vaping. So I mean, yeah, I definitely understand that benefit on there.
Yeah, we had a lot of people reaching out to us, and they were panicking. They were saying, you guys, we have to have your products. We have to have your stores. So, of course, as soon as we could, we went to curbside pickup, and that's been a huge help and a huge blessing. But,
yes,
overall for small businesses, sales have been taken away from us completely. And a lot of people are not going to recover from that. And that's our small town economy. And I was telling a friend of mine, I said, you drive around the square in Taylorville, and what do you see up there? It's all small businesses. There's very few large corporations, in our hometown, downtown square.
Right.
And so, yeah, a lot of people know about the loan that was put out for helping small businesses. Within about 6 days, that was completely wiped out.
Yeah, that didn't last very long at all.
Personally, yeah, I had filled out the application, went to submit it, and got a response of, they changed the application. It took me about 5 days to round up all the information I needed to apply for that.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and then to be told, you may or may not be approved. We don't know. And even still, there's very strict guidelines to that. I was then told, because I am such a new business owner, that if I were approved, it would only be for a small amount of that.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, even though it's, technically an established business that has been in Taylorville and the various places for a while, that considering you just now got it, new business owner, but, you touch base on this with the economic impact on this. And, you're absolutely right. Like, one of the numbers I hear tossed around is like 90% of the, employment is done through small businesses, and especially looking at, around in Taylorville, we've got, like Walmart, and that's basically the only bigger business we got. Everything else, like even the McDonald's, yes, it's a big business, but it's still a franchise location. So, yeah, exactly, locally owned. So, at what point is this going to be so detrimental, do you think, that, a lot of these businesses are not going to be able to reopen?
Well, and I think that's a really good question, and that's a question that, unfortunately, nobody has the answer for, because we don't know. We know what the damages are, but what is the rebuilding going to take? I know my company alone, we've been open since the 1st of May for curbside pickup, and our sales are still at about 30 to 40% of what our normal year would be.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's a big decrease. Not only that, I still have, employees and taxes, because, we live in the great state of Illinois,
Yeah.
that we're still paying. And it's kind of like, it's a very fine line, and all of my employees are aware of it, of do we stay open or do we close our doors until this passes? And at this point, we're not making any money, and everybody knows that. I said, I am open to pay my employees to keep you guys off of unemployment, so you still have a paycheck to take home.
Right.
So that's the decision we made. I know that a lot of small businesses weren't in the position to do that. We were, and we're very blessed for that. So it's very scary.
Yeah, I mean, my sister-in-law, she owns, Karma Salon, and,
Yep.
What type of, holy crap, I can't even imagine, what it's going to, what it's been doing to her as a small business owner. But, you highlighted this, and of course, I mean, every business and every business owner is different as to, where their breaking point is. But I mean, it's an impact that, I think is really weighing down on people. And I know with like these social distancing, rules and guidelines, like a restaurant, for instance, how do you reopen at like half capacity or a third capacity? How are you supposed to, pay the bills? And by the way, Linda does say hello over there in Spreaker. Yep. So let's see here. There is so you've heard about or maybe you haven't, but there was this past Tuesday, there was a county board meeting where they were basically, telling Governor Pritzker, this is our town and we want to open our businesses now. And, the same type of thing was kind of done by the General Assembly as well on the 20th. But, and I know this is something that Elizabeth over at Karma Salon has mentioned, that there's other things there that kind of dictate whether or not she's able to open when, the county says it's time you can go ahead and open. What type of limitations do you have as far as, being a, tobacco, if you want to call it that, tobacco seller, what kind of limitations are on you for reopening on a back to normal basis?
So our biggest limitation is obviously going to be keeping a 6-foot distance. We are, of course, able to do that because we have large enough locations to do so, but we have to limit, the number of people in the store to keep that possible. Mm-hmm. So I would say we're lucky in that sense. We don't have too many limitations other than just kind of limiting the number of people we allow in at a time. Mm-hmm. I will say that we're not allowed to do some of the things we were previously allowed to do, like touch people's devices. We cannot touch anybody's mods or devices. We can't allow the customers to actually hold them or touch them or kind of check them out in the way that they used to be able to. So there'll be a few changes, not too many. Most of them are just going to be, kind of on the cleanliness side of it and making sure that people are taking the proper steps and making sure we're not a hub for any germs to be spread.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you mentioned curbside sales, and of which case, awesome. When are you guys going to be able to, or have you already been able to open your store locations back up?
We have not been able to actually open them back up to the general public. We will be able to as of the 29th, if we stay on track like we are now. Mm-hmm. The 29th, we will be able to open our doors back up and allow people back inside.
Awesome. The 29th. So just before
we're
next.
Looking forward to it.
I'm sure a lot of people are. I'm sure a lot of people are.
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's easy to think that you can shop over the phone, but it's kind of a difficult task to pick out what you want and what you would like without seeing it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a lot the same way. I mean, sometimes the stuff I look at, like the pineapple upside Namoa cake, it's based off of sight. You got to see it in order to click that. Oh, the down's upside down. Right. It took me, I kid you not, it took me entirely too long to figure out that the down was upside down. And that's why I said Namoa.
That was the best day of my life.
It was so fun. I had that blank look on my face for entirely too long. I'm like, what does that say?
was like, what is that word? I can't read that.
I can't. Oh, and then when the light bulb went off, you were like, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Too much QQ China for you?
I guess so.
Yes. You have kept things entertaining in the shop. You definitely have a reputation throughout my company with all my employees. And
Oh, I'm sure. Sure, you're not the only company. He's got a reputation with a lot of them.
You haven't been broke in until you've dealt with HoHo and Brandon.
Right. And I still think one of my favorite flavors out there is the, even though I don't think I've ever had it myself, but the snozberries, amazing flavor, because the snozberries taste like snozberries.
Always.
And that's a movie reference that I'll leave it up to you guys' imagination on that one, on what a snozberry is. Anyway, one of the things I was wanting to talk with you about was and this is since we're here and since we're talking, with the stupid regulations that are coming out as far as a company, a business such as yours being able to do house juices, what type of limitations has been put in place on you, and when are some of these, restrictions going to be taking place?
Absolutely. So I always tell everybody, in every situation, you kind of have to find the positive in it. And so for those of us in our industry, the positive in this whole thing has been that they have actually extended the major regulations they were putting on us. They were supposed to go into effect about a week ago. And due to the pandemic, they have decided to extend that to September 9th of this year.
Okay.
And what that is the pre-market tobacco product application, which more or less says we've paid a whole bunch of money to be able to continue making the products we've been making for a very long time.
Right.
So,
and of course there's a fee involved in this, and I'm not, I'm not going to ask you the dollar amount on that. It's none of my business or anybody else's business.
To be honest with you, they have not given us an accurate dollar amount still to this date. We've known about this since September of last year, and we still don't have an accurate dollar amount.
And this was supposed to take place last week.
Correct. Yeah, the numbers we were told were between $5 and $11 million for every 5 flavors we manufacture. We currently manufacture about 102 flavors.
Wow.
So,
holy crap.
Yep. And even there, the guidelines that were put out for us to do in order to submit these applications were impossible. And the FDA admitted, yes, we realize that they're impossible, but here's what we're giving you. So, unfortunately, once we were deemed a tobacco company or a tobacco manufacturer or distributor, it was put over to the FDA and the TFA to figure out how we are treated, how we are regulated, and they've kind of had it out for us since day one.
Of course.
New York just pulled a doozy on their citizens last week when they went up to vote again for the restrictions in their state. Mm-hmm. In the middle of the night, they put in a clause saying that they were banning all flavored e-liquids. So that passed the following morning without their residents being aware that they were actually voting to also ban all flavored e-liquids.
And that was the thing. We kind of talked about this, whenever you had told me. It's like, dude, that's redonkulous because, look at the pipe industry. They've got numerous flavors, so you're going to condemn, e-juice and vapors. However, you're going to leave the actual big tobacco names alone. And this whole thing was geared to, one, punish, the individual, the small business owners that have vaping stores and vaping shops and whatnot. And it's also meant and designed to, hurt like small manufacturers of cigars and whatnot.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing that I've pointed out from day one is, we can walk into our local grocery store and there are aisles upon aisles of flavored alcohols. And, I've got young children, as you know, and I always get 100 questions. Oh, what is that bright colored bottle? Or what is that? Or, I read cherry. What is that? And so I have to explain to my young children, that's, adult stuff. You can't touch it. But they're supposed to downright ban vaping, which is something that has already been marked down to being sold in 21 and over locations only.
And you got this really amazing picture of a pirate on Captain Morgan, and a kid isn't supposed to be like, ooh, it's a pirate. Arr. You know, so
Right.
yeah, it's
absolutely.
you know,
So it's we kind of get the crappy end of the stick on it. I will say that we are a huge industry, and we are fighting it tooth and nail as we have done since 2016. And you know, we have little victories that we celebrate constantly.
yep.
So, you know, we have to be diligent, and that's what we know. We have to stay up to date on all regulations and everything going through the courts. And we have to continue fighting it. As you know, we had the big rally last year, and I feel like that really made a difference here in our state of Illinois because they really backed off of us after we did the big rally, and they realized, like, wow, there's a lot of people that really stand up for vaping and what it's about, and the medical is, yeah, I mean, to ask people. I always tell everybody, I won't tell you my story, and I won't tell you anyone else's story. What I'll tell you is to come sit in my shop and ask my customers how different their life is since they've started vaping. And the stories are incredible. I know you've heard a few of them, but the stories are just incredible of the people who can do so much more now that they have started vaping and stopped smoking combustible cigarettes. So the biggest thing is money. There's a lot of dirt that got dug up about why we get treated as a tobacco company and why they would prefer get rid of us than allow us to help people. And honestly, it all comes down to money. So, you know, that's kind of a bummer, but
yeah, we've talked about Yep, and we've talked about some of that money involved, and you know, about the only thing that I can really tell people is, you know, do your own research, you know, do your own homework and be diligent, you know, because don't just listen to a study that was paid for by Philip Morris, because those studies have an agenda. Right. And if those studies don't come out with the right answer, then Philip Morris isn't going to pay for said study, and of which case, if the people doing the study want to get paid for said study, then they have to make the outcome be what they wanted to, which is why they always doctor the outcome in order to give them the results that they want. Be mindful about that.
Kind of like the virus.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I tell everybody, you know, on every circumstances, do your own research. You know what you're talking about. Have your proof. Do your research. Do not believe just what you're told. Don't believe what I tell you. Right. And I've told many people, you know, here's the places you can go to do your own research. And a lot of those people come back to me and they're like, holy crap, my mind was blown at the things I found or the things I read. And so, yeah, absolutely. Do your own research and know what they're trying to feed you in the media.
Right. And I commend, you know, the store for, you know, what they do as well, because they have, you know, right there at the store, right there in the location, on one of the tables, a pamphlet that has a lot of that information in it, along with the source material. So this way you can take that pamphlet home with you and then look that stuff up. Or since everybody has a computer right in the palm of their hand, they can just look it up right then and there. You know, and
absolutely.
You know, so that's pretty awesome.
Well, and we thought that was kind of the best way for people to be able to do their own research. You know, I wanted to be able to have that information readily available and say, here, you know, if you're interested in knowing more about, you know, what's going on kind of behind the scenes in the industry and kind of why they're making the decisions they're making or the rules they're making, please go here and do your own research and, you know, absolutely let your voice be heard. I know a lot of people have stood behind the movement of letting their voice be heard in this whole situation. And they're saying adults don't like flavors. We don't need flavors. We're not kids. And it's like, no, I like flavors. You know, I quit smoking cigarettes with a strawberry banana flavor of all things. So, you know, adults like flavors too. We don't want just tobacco flavor. Right.
You know, I told somebody this before. I was like, you know, if all I wanted was a tobacco flavor vape, then I would have just kept smoking, you know, but,
exactly.
You know, I didn't do that, you know, but, well, you know, I thank you very much for calling, taking the time and giving us your input as a business owner. So,
no problem. Thanks for having me. And, you know, we're all going to get through this together. We're going to come back bigger and better, and that's our goal.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I appreciate it. You have yourself a great one, and have a good weekend.
No problem. You guys, too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So that was Amanda, the owner of Freedom Vapes here in town, and Mr. Hohenstein.
So what is your favorite flavor?
You know, that
you actually have tried.
The one that I kind of, my go-to, you know, my vape, basically my everyday vapor is a called Freedom Ice, which is, you know, kind of a house juice that they did that kind of reminds me of a flavor by, and I have no idea the company, but it's called TNT Ice.
Is it kind of vanilla flavored?
It's a mixed fruit with a menthol ice in it. I'm kind of fruity.
Vanilla ice, you know.
Ice, baby. Do. Vanilla. Linda put in here COVID cola. That's awesome. Not any more dangerous than any other. But please remember to store the cans and bottles 6 feet apart from each other. That is amazing. COVID cola. And Sam asked a question about where is my sister-in-law's salon. That is actually located up on the square. What corner is that? Like southeast corner, maybe?
That'll be the northeast corner.
That's what I said, northeast. So, yeah, it's located on the northeast corner. You know, Karma Salon. It's like right there on the corner, right next to one of the used-to-be bars. I don't think it's a bar anymore.
No.
I didn't think so. But, yeah, that's where that's located. And she is, you know, I tell you what, I give her a lot of credit because she, you know, every year or whenever they have these, you know, they have, you know, like big old conventions, you know, where they're talking about different salon techniques and, you know, the in hairstyle, this, that, and the other. And she's always doing that, you know, going to those and coming back and teaching the other hairstylists that work with her, work under, you know, just it's continual education all the time. She's got really good prices too, especially for me. You know, I just do it quick, you know, just hack it off. And in which case, guys, I need a haircut because this crap's getting long. So I cannot wait, you know, because just completely screwed that up. Now, I can't wait for that place to be open because I need a haircut.
Right.
It's horrible.
It's right around the corner from the famous Bill's Toasty Shop.
Yes, it is. Bill's Toasty Shop. And man, I tell you what, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Because I just want to sit in there, have a big old just grease filled, just dripping with grease. Oh, grease burger. Amazing stuff, dude.
Right.
Bill's Toasty. If y'all haven't heard of it, y'all need to check it out. Bill's Toasty. It's a great place. Sam goes, I'm gonna have to try her out. It's a good place. It's a good place. She's got good prices. They do it all. You name it, they pretty much do it. It's a full service salon, and yeah, they pretty well do it all right there. It's a good place. So anyway, I haven't seen my brother chime in anymore since. So I'm assuming he is no longer with us.
Not just on the show, right?
Yeah, just on the show. Yeah,
he's no longer with us. Like, no,
I'm not saying that. No. So yeah, guys, that's the you know, from a few different standpoints, you know, kind of, you know, in a matter of speaking, what the shutdown, the lockdown has been doing to us as a society, small business owners, you know, the impact with police and how they've been able to interact, and just with basically our own interactions with it, you know. So yeah, I know that was a lot of information. I knew it was going to be a long show, and I had a stuttering problem right there that I'm still kind of having.
It's not a 5-hour show though.
It's not, and it's not going to be, because I don't want to do no 5-hour show. That was.
But you could.
You've been there. Well, you know, really, no, I haven't, because it was 5 hours in one day, yes, but it was like 2 hours on one show and 3 hours on the other show.
And how much of a break in between? Not very much.
No, I think it was like, 15, 20, no, like a half hour. I think it was about a half hour.
Yeah, or a little less. 20 minutes, 27 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Not very long.
Whew. Man, I tell you what, though, I was like so ready for that to be done. And, you know, it wasn't going to be that long. I mean, it was just, you know, audience interaction that really kept the thing going. Uh-huh. And, you know, I mean, that happens. You know, you get the audience interaction. I tell you what, that's one of the things I love about doing this live, is it gives me the interaction with everybody, the comments and whatnot. And, you know, I like that. It makes it more personal. I think it's awesome.
Speaking of interaction,
yes,
I had some interaction this past week with another show that we are friends with.
Oh yeah, what and what show was that?
The Alex Exum Experience on Spreaker.
Well, actually, it was a Tuesday show, Live Talk.
Live Talk.
Uh-huh.
And
I guess Carlton was talking about who was the king of rock and roll, the official king of rock and roll, and I chimed in Buddy Holly,
Right.
and I got it right.
Yeah.
So Carlton told Alex to send me a T-shirt.
I was like,
of all people, me.
I was like, that's awesome. He gets a T-shirt. Compliments of Carlton and Alex Exum of the Exum Experience and Live Talk with Alex Exum.
So when that T-shirt comes in, the next available show after that, I will be wearing that T-shirt on air for everybody to see.
Awesome.
So thank you to Carlton and Alex for the T-shirt.
That was cool. That was cool. I was like, I had no idea. I'm like trying to wrap my brain on who it could be. I had no idea. You said Buddy Holly, and I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
And yup. That's You were right. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was cool. It was cool. Yeah. Of all the people, me.
I thought it was pretty cool.
So I'll be wearing that coming up whenever it gets in, and it'll be fun.
So yeah, so we're pretty well done, guys. I thank you very much for participating, for chiming in, and supporting the local business owners, and just allowing them to talk a little bit of about their trials and whatnot that they've been going through. I mean, it's one of them things that, guys, I mean, it's time. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, come out to the rally if you can in Springfield at the Capitol at noon next Saturday,
week.
And you'll see a lot of us from Weaponized Sloth Productions there. Like you mentioned earlier, Brandon from the Machine Radio Show will be speaking. If you see me in this Trump Pence T-shirt or Matt out, just come up, say hi. And
I thought it was hilarious how they told Brandon to behave. If you guys have never watched this show, he's a little outspoken and explicitive. Yeah, I mean, he definitely throws some color. I mean, it's not a black and white show. He throws some color into there, and it's a treat. Because he has the same issues that I have with the whole brain not quite communicating with the mouth, and the mouth just kind of blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So he has a lot of that too. We're definitely, brothers when it comes to that. And in fact, here's one of his instances where he had a hard time speaking.
Woo! But this is okay. Yeah.
and I love that. I use it from time to time, and I know Matt's heard it. I don't know if Brandon's actually heard me use that or not.
I don't know.
But they were playing clips of like Nancy Pelosi, speaking or misspeaking, as I'm sure the case was. And oh yeah, it was absolutely hilarious. I was like, wow, that's too. I got to take that clip, and I'm going to use it. So I did. It was a good time.
And you're still doing merchandise on a certain website as well?
Yes, stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. And hello, Rob, over there in Facebook land. Good to see you. And yes, I had to spell it wrong because, unfortunately, stinkpickle.com, the correct spelling was actually taken. And just in case you guys haven't picked up what I'm throwing down, yes, I named my website, the merch store, Crap. Because that's what a stink pickle is. I named it Crap. So, but yeah, I mean, they were actually using stink. Well, they wasn't using stink pickle. It was more or less a placeholder. There wasn't an actual website there. Just hey, if you want to buy it, you can contact these people. And it's going to cost you this much money. And I was like, you're smoking crack. I live in America. I can spell things however I want to. So that's what I did. I just misspelled it. There it was. It was available. So now I got stinkpickle.com.
What kind of just curious, what kind of merchandise, what are the big things on there?
Well, right now we've got a handful of T-shirts, and that's pretty well the extent of it. Now that I recently switched routes, I'm no longer going up to Canada anymore. Now I am staying stateside, running out to New York. In fact, I just got back from Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So, now that I should be getting a more stable, with the exception of this week, wasn't very stable, but I should be getting a more stable schedule. So I should be able to work a lot more on that because I've got a bunch of stuff to put on there. It's not even funny. I mean, I got all kinds of T-shirts that I need to put on there.
Right.
T-shirts, mugs, coffee mugs, drinking glasses. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff to put on there that All of it is products of Skyscraper Vinyl, which is owned by Brandon Gatton, host of the Machine Radio Show, another member of Weaponized Sloth Productions.
And I know we've talked about this off air, and it might be important for people to know too. It's kind of part of history now. You know, we did have a tornado here, and that kind of affected a little bit of things. Would you say?
Oh yeah.
You know, and
actually, one of the people I was wanting to interview, and this was more or less based off of, you know, the bar owner that was in Blue Mountain that was like open for like almost an entire weekend.
Right.
You know, one of the owners here in town, he owns a small convenience store and he owns a bar. You know, and I was curious, you know, because much of the same thing with Amanda in deal, you know, with, you know, the ATF, you know, him being a bar owner, what kind of restrictions are on him opening up? Is he at risk of losing his license if he just goes ahead and opens up, like what they threatened that bar owner in Blue Mound over? Mm-hmm. So I was actually, you know, kind of curious about that and wanting to talk to him about it. But he had, you know, not only did he have tornado damage from the storm itself, while they were in the process of rebuilding the place to open it back up, some jackholes, you know, broke out one of the windows and vandalized the place while it was being rebuilt again.
Wow.
You know, yeah, I mean, they had one of the front windows, you know, knocked out, and I heard that there was some stuff that, you know, they had done inside. I mean, I don't think it was anything real major. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. But it's like, holy crap, guys. I mean, you know, talk about kicking a man in the junk when he's already down. I mean, come on.
Right.
You know.
And I did message them as well. And I've been, as I said the last time, I have been sending out this to business owners, the DOJ Civil Rights Division's website, to where you can file a DOJ complaint against anybody that's violating your civil rights via a government agency or law enforcement agency. So that is one thing at your disposal. If you want to just go on the DOJ website, it explains it all. You know, I don't want to go into detail, but if you are a business owner, it's worth checking out.
Right. And one of his businesses, yes, it's definitely shut down, the bar, but his convenience store, you know, they've got a drive-through for those people that are in a hurry and just wanting something quick, don't want to go inside. Actually, I'm almost positive it is the only drive-through convenience store in Taylorville, if not the state. I mean, it's actually, you know, like, holy crap, they got a drive-through. You know, I mean, I thought that was ridiculous, but it's like, you know, through this lockdown, if it wasn't for that, he wouldn't be open.
Right.
So, I mean, I actually thought that was pretty good. And he's a nice guy, too. You know, I've talked to him numerous times. You know, I mean, that's just one of the things, man. Whenever you're a local business owner, you know, these guys work in their business alongside their employees all the time. So, I mean, you meet them, you know. So, you know, he's one of them guys, too. That he's a nice guy. I've talked to him several times, you know. I have no idea what kind of guy he is to work with, but he's a nice guy.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, that is pretty well all we got for the show. I thank you guys very much for tuning in, for being part of the madness. So you guys have yourself a wonderful evening. Good night. Sleep tight, and if the bed bugs bite, well, by golly, bite them back. Take care. This has been The HoHo Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time,